Howdy, howdy. Welcome back to my channel. I have been gone a few days, and what have I been up to the last few days? So, what I decided to do was I took some time out to really dig into my ProWritingAid Novel Beginnings Contest entry. So, what I did was, well, I finished it. That's the first thing. So, I did finish it. It is at, and that's crazy because I have three different sets of word counts. Scrivener says I was at 4,700 and I think two. And then I put it into a Google Docs because every time I compiled it and put it into a Word document, some of my formatting was a little off. But then, so I copied and pasted it into Google Docs. That said, I was at 4,721. Okay, perfect. ProWriting Aid has, you can upload your documents to their system. And so I did that just to do I get three critiques, chapter critiques a day. And I did this ProWriting Aid boot camp kind of thing. And so putting it through their chapter critique wasn't against the rules of the contest. And that said, I was at 4,933. Explain to me how it jumped 200 words. I'm like, this doesn't make any sense, right? I was just like, okay. So what I decided to do was some of their community posts, and somebody asked, can you put up an example of how an entry would look? Because it is very vague to say it has to be uh 1.5 in spacing, but you can only use, I think, Arial and Times New Roman .12, either one of those fonts. Okay, that's fine. But on what I'm learning, and you can upload the document in either a Word doc, a Pages doc, or a PDF. But what I'm learning is that not everything is very equal with with this. So I'm more so you ha- I took the title out of the actual document because that was in there. Then I had made chapters. So I took those chapters out. Took the chapters out, and then I used the hashtag to separate the scenes. I'm going to do another recount. So far, I went on, I think it was Gemini, and I asked the question, understanding the discrepancies in the three. And it told me that the variation in word counts between platforms, Scrivener, Google Docs, and ProWritingAid, can come down to these things. That platform algos have different programs using varying rules for counting hyphenated words, ellipses, and numbers. I did not know this. This is something, we're all learning here. So ProWritingAid's higher count likely includes text that Scrivener and Google Docs might ignore, such as chapter headers, page numbers, or any source tags if they were included in the upload. I think it's interesting that, yes, I could see that with Scrivener, right? Because Scrivener has like the metadata. I had to make sure that the original story, because I changed the title of the story, right? So I had to go into the metadata and change that. So I get that, right? I don't have any headers. So I don't know, but that 4,933 kind of like scared me. So what I'm in the process of doing, the manuscript, I gave it to beta readers for them to read over and give me some feedback. My goal is to submit this on March 23rd. So I have some time because I have finished writing it, but now I'm just refining, and getting some feedback from different generations on this to, what is this story, eliciting to you? Are you getting the vibe and the feel of what it is that I'm trying to convey in this? We'll see. But I thought that was just really interesting with, with the word count. And for us, this is day 12, despite the fact that the contest has been going on for a month and it ends at the end of this month. So looking good here. Looking good. But I would say as an author, as a writer, I think what's stressing me out, so let's talk about some stressors. I think what's stressing me out is I want to win. Who doesn't want to win $50,000, right? I think it's interesting. It would have been nice maybe if the second through ninth place gets $5,000, which is fine, which is nice or whatever. So I'm taking anything. You want to win? Yes, you want to win. You want to come in second through ninth? Yes. You want to be recognized? You do. We all do. But yesterday I sat there and I worked on from, oh my God, 9 a.m. till about a good 6 p.m., just reading it over and over and over and over again, then transferring it from Scrivener to Google Docs, getting the formatting correctly. And still, I'm not done. I'm not done because I think I can make it even tighter. And normally I don't get too involved with this what is it, analysis paralysis, is that what it is that what it's called? I don't get too involved with feeling like I have to make everything perfect, but I think because this is a contest and folks are being judged, you really do feel like you have to put your best foot forward. Now mind you, your name doesn't go on your submission, so it's by blind. So they don't know that it's me, Michelle Carey, who wrote this story. They're just going to read it. They're just going to read it. And, against their judging criteria, I don't know. I guess each judge reads it and then they'll whittle it down to, I think it's the semifinalists. And I think they'll be putting those, or the finalists, and those people will be put up on the website in the community tab, and then other people can come and read and vote on it, if I'm not mistaken. I think that's how it's going. I think what's interesting is this consumed a lot of my time that I stopped about maybe 10 days ago editing on my big boy project because I really wanted to dedicate full time to this. When I was working, this reminds me about when I was working. When I was working full time, I had to fit writing and everything that came along with it in before I woke up to go to work, lunchtime, after work, weekends, vacations. Even I have taken off time to use my leave. I would have to use my leave like during Thanksgiving or like Christmas time, and I would have all this leave, and I would dedicate, like one year I took off 3 weeks. I saved 3 weeks worth of leave and during the holidays, and the whole time I just worked on books, just worked on stuff, especially that first week because it was a week before Christmas, something to that effect. And I just worked on projects. So, 5 minutes here, 5 minutes there. I have Scrivener on my phone, I have Scrivener on my iPad, just trying to get stuff in. And now that I'm retired, it's like, okay, I have all day now to dedicate to this, and even all night if I wanted to. If I wanted to stay up late because I don't have to go anywhere in the morning or whatever, I can dedicate as much time. But you will find out that your brain, you just get tired. You get tired. You get tired of looking at it. You don't know if it's making sense. You get really wrapped up. And this is with a lot of stuff, not just a contest entry, right? But even when you're just writing for self-publishing, or if you're writing to query to get a literary agent, you put so much energy into it. You just do. You put so much into it. And you want people to read it and you want people to like it and feel the same way that you feel about it, you know? And writing and drawing and things of that music, they're all subjective, of course, right? Because not everything you write and not everything that you draw or paint or not everything that is musical is everybody going to love. But eventually you do find your tribe and you do find the people that resonate with you and your work and your creative, what you're putting out to the masses. And they will gravitate to you and they will find you. That's how I'm kind of feeling about what I'm doing now because I'm doing this full time. I'm like, whew, let the people come, let them find me and like what it is that I'm putting out there. Here's the thing, because I read this on Reddit. I'm all over the place with this because I'm not writing, today. So I'm just hopping all over the place. But here's the thing, I read on Reddit where somebody was really upset that they got some 1 or 2 star reviews. Let me give you some advice. It hurts because when somebody gives you a 1 or 2 star review, you're thinking to yourself, what did I do to deserve that? Why would they even take the time out to write that? Because you feel like folks are being kind of mean, right? When they could have just kind of like kept that to themselves. And it's like, yes, they have the opportunity to review, and you want an honest review. My first book, which was written back in 20, it was published in 2012. So it was written in like 2011. It had errors. Oh my God, it had errors. And some people were able to get the gist of it. It didn't have that many errors that you couldn't read it. It wasn't unreadable, right? But now as being more sophisticated in my writing, and you only get that way over time of actually putting in the work. Your first work is never going to be perfect. But over time, when you start to learn some of the rules that go to this writing game, you get better at it. And I always say, you know what? I'm going to go back and correct that book. And I did. I did. I don't think I corrected enough, I believe, that it's passable in my opinion, but I'm not going back to fix like head hopping and the she felt, he felt, none of that. It is what it is. I wrote it in, 2011. This is 2026. We got to move onward, right? I just know now these are things that I have to look out for. And that's what happens, right? But when you have these 1 or 2 star reviews, do not talk to the people. Do not like try to reach out to them and ask them why. Just leave it be. This is what they thought it was. For for every 4 or 5 star reviews, you're probably, for let's say, for every 10 4 or 5 5 star reviews, you're going to get at least 1 or 2 that are 1 or 2 star reviews, right? How do you think some of the big time authors, how do you think they deal with it? They don't. They just like, whatever. This is the work that I put out. You either enjoy it or you don't, right? And you know what they do? They keep it moving and they write their next book. Even with music, some music out there you may not like by your favorite artist. You're like, okay, this is trash. Why did they put that out there? But guess what? They're going to make another album. They're going to make another song, regardless about how it is that you feel about it, because that next one you may like. And that's just how it is, right? Art. Somebody, remember that time when somebody taped a banana to the wall? Like what? And it sold? Like these are just art. When you are creative, the thing is, it's really not about the reviews. It's not about the money. It's about the creative process. It is about you taking the time in your brain to create something, right? We are here to create. Create with your hands, create with your mind, your vision, your thoughts. Create. That's it. And you just can't really get mixed up in some of the external stuff that goes along with that creation, because as long as you love it, why should you care, right? It goes back to the, what is it? If they like it, I love it. What? You have to put your best foot forward and create the art that you want to see in the world. You will find your tribe will find you, and all is well. Now, Also, I would say that sometimes when people critique stuff and they put 1 or 2 star reviews, sometimes it's good criticism, right? Things that you didn't really see. That's why you need another eye on it, right? Before you put it out into the world, because what you see and what your intent was may not be the same as how it's being perceived. If you understand what I'm saying. So, it's okay. All of that is okay. You have to live within yourself that you did it, right? That you did it, you created, and you let it go. And then what you're going to do is you're going to create again, you're going to live with it, and you're going to let it go. Then what you do after that is you live with it, you create it, and you live with it, and you let it go. That's how it works. That is exactly how it works. Because what you'll understand is that nothing is perfect. Nothing. Mm, except for nature. That seems to be has some perfectionism to it. But you're talking about humans, in terms of the human in you. We're all flawed in all of our different ways. And I think what's interesting that in our flaws, we don't see flaws the same way. I may see a flaw in me that I just think like, "Ugh, I don't like that about me." Somebody else will come along and say, "Oh, that's nice." And you're like, "What? What?" We see things very differently in terms of our perception and how we relate to things, right? So don't give yourself a hard time. Give yourself some grace. Give yourself some grace. Be grateful, have gratitude, just be happy. I'm really happy today. The sun has been out for 3 days straight. Just yeah, that's that's I guess my word of advice for today. I know it was a little ranty. It was a little ranty. I went on a rant, but that's what's going on. So so this is day 12. I probably won't I have something else in mind in terms of a new series for videos that I'll be doing, but in terms of me writing for the Pro Writing Aid contest, I'm pretty much done. I'm pretty much done. I think the next time I'll come on talking about this is perhaps some of the beta reader feedback. And then, of course, on March 23rd, uploading my entry. So there's that. But in the meantime, I do have some other things that I want to start talking to folks about when it comes to writing, being an author. Mm, I'm still working it out in my head, still working it out in my head. But yeah, this is where we are today on March 1st. And happy to be here. So, with that, I thank you for watching my video and talk to you soon. Peace.